Hey guys, welcome to the Canadian Spartan Ambassador Podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Amber.
And I'm Jill, and we are ready to take you through some Canadian Spartan content. We are so excited to bring this podcast to you where we will discuss lots of topics Spartan Race Canada.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay connected for all our exciting episodes to come. Okay, guys, we are shifting gears for a third time on today's episode. With us, we've got Pat Millington with us. You might have just heard Connor emphasize his friendly rival, and we've gotten him here to share his side of the story. But we really want to talk about Red Deer first. So we're going to shift backwards a little bit. Back to where we started with Mike. He gave us a quick little race recap at the beginning of this podcast, kind of about the weather and how things went at Red Deer. But Pat here had 2 podium placements. He was first in the 10K Super, second in the 5K Sprint, which was part of the Canadian National Series. So welcome to the podcast, Pat. We'd love to get to know you a little bit here. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what intrigued you to start Spartan racing? Let's start back.
Okay, well, thank you for having me. So starting Spartan actually started back in 2021. My friend asked me in the summer of 2021, hey, do you want to go to Blue Mountain at the end of the year and do a Spartan race? He's like, we'll get an Airbnb. It'll be a good weekend. I'm like, all right. I've heard about Spartan. I never got into it because I didn't want to do it alone. So he wanted to do it. I agreed. So we went to Blue Mountain I think it was October 2021. Yes, we did the 5K Open just for fun, see what it was all about. Ended up placing first in my heat.
Nice.
Shocker.
So after the race, they were doing all the podium stuff, and I think my time was good enough for podium. So I was just kind of waiting for my name to be called. And then someone was like, no, you did open. You can't podium and open. I'm like, oh, what's that? So I can blame my friend for signing us up for open, but I guess the rules are you have to do open before age group. I don't know if that's
there's no specific rules anymore. There might have been rules in 2021. It was changed. There's no rules.
Yeah.
You can just sign up for age group and elite too. So
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I should definitely blame him. Okay. So anyway, yeah, so I did well my first Spartan race. And then obviously I got addicted. So the following
like we all do.
Yeah. So after that race, actually, once the season pass for 2022 came out, I bought it, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And so me and my buddy, the same friend, decided to do the 10K at Brimacombe the next year. I've never ran a 10K in my life. I was never a runner. I played hockey, baseball, volleyball. I never did running. I only liked the idea of a Spartan because it was physical with the obstacles and everything. So I was like, yeah, I'll do this. So we did the 10K, and I was like, okay, let's just take it easy. We'll pace each other. We'll do it together just to get through it.
Yeah.
And we were probably a quarter way through the 10K. He's like, just go on without me. If you seem like you can do better. So he's like, just go on without me. I was like, you sure? He's like, yeah, go. So I took off by myself without him and ended up getting third podium.
Nice.
Did you do age group that time?
It was age. Yeah, we did age group.
All right. No more rookie mistakes. Okay, carry on.
So I took off without him and placed third. And then,
nice.
Yeah. And so that was a Saturday. And then the Sunday for I was like, okay, I'm going to come back and do the 5K because I'm doing well at this. Ended up getting second in the 5K.
Nice.
And yeah, my friend didn't come to that. He kind of quit Spartan after the 10K. He's
oh,
like, I'm done with
this.
He was
not for the faint of heart. We all know that.
Yeah. I mean, he did well, but he's just the running. It was too much running for him. But
yeah.
So yeah, I started getting podiums, and I just got addicted and continued from there. And
the rest is history.
And did you do the series last year? Did you do the series at all last year, or were you part of that?
Yeah, so I didn't know much about Spartan. I just bought the season pass and did as many races as I could.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up placing third in the series without even knowing.
That's awesome.
I did every week or all of them. So I went out to Kelowna. No, I didn't do Red Deer. So I didn't go to Red Deer.
Okay.
I don't know if Kelowna was one of the qualifiers.
So you didn't
I think it was
know
just,
you were participating in the series at all? Did you get the email to say that you had placed third? And
yeah. I just saw that. I think it might have came up on the Instagram or something. It said you placed third.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
I feel like
I didn't know I was competing for anything. So I just got
yeah.
lucky, had enough points to get third in my
And the
age.
thing with that is that when you race these series, there's actually some cool prizes. I know last year they haven't said what they are, and things change all the time. But last year, the first place was a season's pass. So yeah. So there you go. What a nice little surprise.
And you know what? I feel like a lot of people don't know so much about the series. So Connor did a really great explanation earlier on in this podcast. So again, like if you guys are still confused about how the series works, just rewind a little bit and give it another listen because it is confusing for new racers. And like Pat said, he's ranking at the top of it and he's still figuring it out as he goes too. So we're all in the same boat, guys. Spartan is just like this continuous, you never really know what you're going to get, but that's pretty awesome. Do you feel like it was like good that you didn't know you were racing for like such a big thing and that you were relaxed? Do you think it would have changed your approach at all?
Yeah, probably. After the fact, I realized Mount Tremblant was one of the not qualifiers, but part of the series, the 5K. And I did the Beast on the Saturday, and then the 10K Sunday morning, and then did the 5K that was a part of the series. So I did all three races, and I know a lot of the guys took those two races off so they could be fresh for the 5K, but I still ended up fourth in the 5K after doing, I guess, 31 kilometers before that.
That's fantastic.
But, it could have been a little warm up for the 5K, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I would have been too nervous or.
Yeah.
But
so obviously you're a natural for this sport. Like the fact that you've just climbed the rankings in essentially like a year and a half, basically, right? Do you think like your previous athletic career, you said you were a hockey player, like do you think that helped you? Or like how do you train? Like how do you train?
Well, before like Spartan, and obviously I do DEKA now. I was doing Fire Fit, which is similar to DEKA, but a lot quicker. It's
okay.
You're done. Like my fastest time for Fire Fit is 1 minute and 21 seconds.
Whoa.
It's the same thing where it's like stations, but you do as quick as you can, like obviously. But
yeah. So fire training there's a lot of carrying, right? In fire training.
Yeah, it's a lot of the Fire Fit's a lot more weight. You're carrying more weight. It's obviously a quicker time, but all the weight carrying, and you're on air wearing the air mask and everything.
That's a good point.
Yeah. But yeah, so I do a lot of that training, which helps out with obviously stronger legs and everything. And then just normal things at the gym, just weightlifting for hockey and all that.
Are you running now? Have you started to do actual runs or?
To be honest, no.
No, I knew you were going to say that. But you know what? I feel like, when you're used to training or competing with that mask on, like your lung capacity when you're out on the hills must just be like, you must feel so good. Like even at the top of the mountain, not that our elevation is extremely high, but like I'm sure like you're used to being so compromised with your breathing that when you're out on the Spartan Hill, like do you find it's just so easy for you?
I think the Fire Fit helps with because you're pushing yourself until you're almost ready to black out. Like that's kind of what DEKA is too.
Yes.
Yeah, which he's a beast in DEKA, and we're going to be talking about that soon.
Yeah. But yeah, and it all helps out with like Spartan doing the mount. Like I feel like my legs are a lot stronger this year for the Spartan races. I can tell like I can run more of an incline when last year I would kind of walk it, I can kind of do a little bit of a jog now instead of walk the steeper.
That's awesome.
So like, do you find, I mean, I know you and Connor out on that Spartan Hill are usually like leapfrogging back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. How do you feel out there on the race? Like, I know you guys have both been on each other's tails and stuff. Does that like push you to keep going or to go faster? Like, what's your standpoint on this little friendly Spartan rivalry we got going on here? Because you guys
basically
even on the podium, you're back and forth, right?
How competitive are you? Is she's asking.
Basically, in the nice way.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I'm pretty much competing against him. Like I try to just beat Connor. So I know if I'm ahead of him, I know I'm probably going to podium. So I just try to keep up to him. And then if I do get ahead of him, like I'm always looking behind my shoulder, like where is he? Where is he?
Where's Connor?
And you two are always close together too.
Yeah, exactly. We're Brimacombe, the 5K. It was a 10-second difference from he was second and I was third, and it was 10 seconds.
Oh wow.
Like I saw him get to the barbed wire crawl and I was like right behind him, and we were like both in the barbed wire crawl at Brimacombe, which was really long and a brutal barbed wire crawl.
Yeah.
And I was not worried about my health or safety, and I was cutting my back on those. Like, I was trying to get as quick as I could to catch him, but I just couldn't.
Yeah, you're a little taller than Connor too, so that barbed wire crawl was not in your favor in that particular moment. So, okay, let's talk about Red Deer a little bit. We've heard it was flat and it was fast. Does that cater to you as an athlete? Did you really thrive there, or do you prefer the hills? Like Red Deer, was that your jam?
I didn't think it would be, but it was. Yeah. Yeah, it was a beautiful course. Like the 10K, it was very scenic compared to the 5K. You went farther out and like ran around. There's like a little lake. The 10K was really nice. Connor didn't race the 10K, but I think he did it last year, so he probably would have seen it. But yeah, it was a beautiful course. For some reason I do well at the 10Ks, which is weird because I'm not much of a runner, but I've done better at 10Ks and 5Ks, and I've never podiumed in a beast, which the goal for me this year.
Maybe this year.
So he's putting out 21K this year, goal race. We're not going to jinx it. We're going to send energy to that.
Send energy. So
awesome.
But yeah, no, Red Deer. Yeah. Being flat, I was surprised how well I did with the flat course, because I know a lot of these guys are actual runners, and I feel like that would be their course to beat me at. But
there's so many things though. Like I think Spartan kind of proves that you don't have to necessarily run. Yes, you can use running to improve your running, but if that's not what you love, there are other ways to do things. So you can find Pat, follow his Instagram, see what he's doing for a different way of training. I mean, I know I used to, when I was doing a lot of classes, I ran some hill classes and I just didn't have time to run for a while. And at that time I was doing just 5K road races, and just doing hill training made me very fast in running 5Ks. So there's just so many different ways to approach it. So that makes sense to me for sure.
Well, and the obstacles benefit me a lot. Just like if you're a runner, you're a runner, but once you hit those obstacles, they gas you out a lot. And with my strength, I think I gain on people with the obstacles. So
probably because you're, like I said, you're used to those carries, right? You're a strong human being. You've got an athletic background, so you probably have pretty good like body awareness. And you're right. Like I'm like you, I totally make a move on the obstacles, and it's a great place to thrive, let me tell you, because if you can save a lot of time there, you can save a lot of time, really. Especially like if you're not failing, you're not doing penalty loops, right? Like you can save a lot of time just being efficient on the obstacles. So I feel like those are like kind of an underrated part that people focus on. Like I think people spend so much time improving they're running. And like you said, like, you know, running's a small part of, like, it doesn't seem like it's a small part of it, but it is really a small part of Spartans. So I'm glad you pointed that out because, yeah, being more efficient on the obstacles can definitely be a big win. And you're proving it is, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what's your favorite obstacle, just out of curiosity,
Uh,
if you have one? Hey,
no.
how are you on the rope climb you're a firefighter, right? We need to
Yeah,
get into
no,
this.
the rope climb's pretty easy for me, to be honest.
Do you
Do
use
you
your legs?
use arms or just
No,
legs
no,
or both?
all arms, all arms.
Yeah, he probably jumps half the rope. He's pretty tall. He probably
Yeah.
jumps half and then just like a couple quick pulls and he's
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah,
I've
Yeah.
that's
actually,
awesome.
I've kind of came to like the sandbag carry and the bucket carry. Like
Because
Mhm.
that's
last
nothing for
year,
you.
I always walked with it last year, and now I can jog with them, which is nice.
So what
And I think you
improved your
Oh,
get a lot of
training
time
then?
on those.
Did you just start this year doing more fire fit or what upped your
So
training so much?
I started 2019 when I was in fire school,
Hmm.
and then 2020, 2021, they didn't have it because of COVID.
Yeah. Oh, so
Mm.
that's
Again, yeah. So I started back up again last year, and so last year I was actually I had the fastest time in Canada for a volunteer firefighter.
oh, that's cool.
Wow.
Okay,
Yeah.
give us a
And
quick rundown of what the stations are if they are easy to explain on a podcast.
um, okay, I actually have it up
You
here.
he was waiting for this question.
I I knew
Yeah,
you would ask. Yeah.
Because it's
So there's
interesting. And, I think
it's
people who
very
do
interesting.
obstacles are interested in all sorts of crazy fitness events. I'm always interested in them. So,
Yeah,
Yeah, me too.
it's similar to DEKA, but just a lot quicker. Um, so there's six, I guess, zones or stations.
Okay.
Uh, the first one is a stair climb, which is 40 feet, 6 flights or 60 steps up
okay.
a tower, um, in all gear on
Hmm.
air. Um,
Wow.
So it's no
and then
kidding, you have no problem on a Spartan hill. Okay.
so you throw up a hose pack that weighs 42 pounds and put it on your shoulder and then go up, throw that
Okay.
throw that into a bin, and then you hoist up like a donut roll of hose that weighs 42 pounds, put it in the same bin, go down all 60 steps again. You have to hit every step going down, or it's 2-second penalty for everyone you miss.
Oh, wow.
Going up you can skip.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, go down, and then you get to the force machine, which they say you have to hit. It's like hitting 500 pounds of force.
Hmm.
Um, you there's like line. It'll be like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There'll be a green line. So usually it takes about like 8 to 10 hits to do,
Oh, wow.
Okay.
and you have to run 140 feet through like around pylons.
In the gear
Uh,
still, obviously.
yeah,
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 fully suited and masked, right? You're still on
yeah,
air?
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, run through that. Then you grab a 1.75 inch charge hose line, put it over your shoulder, drag it 100 feet, and hit a target. They say that's equivalent to like pulling 200 pounds
Oh, wow.
behind
Fun.
you. So hit the target. If you miss the target, it's another 2-second penalty.
Oh,
So you throw that down, then you grab the vacuum or it's called the rescue Randy. You pick him up. He weighs 175 pounds, and drag him back 100 feet, and then you're
Oh,
done.
wow.
wow.
So
And you did
And
all of that in a minute and a half.
whoa.
minute and 21 seconds.
Okay, so that's your time, but
Oh my
what's kind of the
God.
average time? What do other people do? Because I know you do
So
quite
they
well in
call
this.
it they call it no, the hardest 2 minute in sports is what they call it. So if you're under
I
two
believe that.
minutes, under 2 minutes is good.
Do you know what the
Wow.
record is?
The world record is 1 minute and 10 seconds.
Oh, you can do it. 11 seconds. Keep those
That's
stair climbs going. Where do you think you could shave time?
uh the rescue Randy drag, like the end, the dummy drag.
All right. Well, you keep up with your farmers, Gary, for
Yeah,
DEKA.
it's my
You keep
chicken legs.
pushing and
I need
pulling
to
that
build the chicken
tank.
legs.
Yeah, get on the tank. Oh, do you have a tank?
I do. No, I have sleds.
All right, there
That
you
works
go.
too.
All right. Well, your whole Spartan community is now cheering you on to break this record. But okay, so let's shift because now I'm really not shocked as to why you're such a force in the DEKA field because
Absolutely.
for those who don't know, in the Canadian DEKA community, Pat is the second fastest male in Canada for the strong time. I don't even know if Pat knows that, but
He
hey, you are.
probably
You've got
doesn't.
this.
Dave told me. I didn't know,
Okay.
but Dave told me.
Yeah, you're
Yay,
currently the second
congratulations.
Shout out, Dave.
fastest. No big deal. And he's on here spending time with us. And I don't think it's gonna be long before he's maybe gonna take the crown on that one in Canada too. But okay, so how do you feel? Like, do you obviously feel like your DEKA fire or not, sorry, DEKA fire, your fire fit complements your DEKA training? Do you think that's partly why you're such a force in DEKA?
Yeah, I think that would help a lot, and vice versa. I think DEKA has
Mhm.
helped me a lot this year with FireFit too.
Yeah.
My goal for FireFit this year is under a minute. Well,
Whoa.
I want a minute 19, under 120.
Yeah.
And I'm close to that, but
So you are going for the record then.
not the world record.
Oh, come on, you're doing it.
We'll see.
We know Spartans and DEKA, and like we're just a different breed of human. We know you're saying that, but you're gonna go after it. So
Yeah.
I believe in you.
And if for people listening, I don't know Pat completely well, but I know Pat from races and stuff. He is not the person who would be out there telling you what his times or his things are. That's
Yeah.
something you'd have to ask him. So this is why if it takes us a little bit to get the information out, it's because he's a humble competitor as well too. He's not really, and should take some credit from time to time. Yeah, but he
It's
will tell
true.
you. But that's
That's why
Pat.
we will talk you up. We'll talk you up because I know you
Yeah.
won't do it for yourself, but you're a
No.
force. So, okay, let's talk about DEKA. When was your first experience with DEKA? Was it a DEKA Strong, DEKA Mile? When was your first one?
My first one was the strong at your gym.
This January was your first one?
I didn't even know about it. Well,
He
I
just
knew about
walked
this.
by.
Shut the front door.
Well,
He just like walked in and
I,
crushed it. Okay.
so
Carry on.
I didn't know about DEKA until probably this year. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like I'll get into that like next year because I didn't know if it was a Canada thing. And then I was on the Spartan Canada Facebook page, and someone commented like, "Oh, I'm going to Brantford for DEKA this week, or like in a couple weeks or whatever." I was like, oh, I didn't even realize there was a thing. So I looked it up. I was like, oh, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to sign up for this. I want to do it. I didn't even know there was any in Canada.
Mhm.
So yeah, I signed up for the one at your gym, and that was my
Do you
first.
remember what your time was there?
I think it was like 13:34, maybe.
Yeah, it was something like that. I knew it was in the 13s. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's not where you're at now. So after your
Yeah.
first DEKA Strong experience, because we all go through this, we experience it, and the moment we're done, we just have this like rush of like everything we would have changed differently. So after
Yeah.
your first DEKA, where you went 13 and change, let's call it, what did you decide to change in your approach for the next one? Because now you're like in the 12-minute range.
Yeah. So my second one.
You're like 12 and a half, something around there.
So my best is 12:22.
Yes. Okay. And I believe the record in Canada is like 12:20 or 12:19.
Yeah, he beat me by 2 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet if you
So,
were together, that would have been a very big, amazing race to watch.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. So obviously that's a whole minute difference. So I guess what I'm asking is like, how do you now approach the strong that's different from the way you did the first time? Or what would you recommend people do?
Um, Probably the row. I paced myself. I know at the first one, Zach was reffing me, and he's because it was the first time because I never used like a rower really. I've never used a ski erg. I never used a salt bike before this. So I didn't even know what these machines were before I did a DEKA.
Oh my God, I love that. Okay.
So, like I don't like even setting the bike, the height of my seat. I didn't even know what to do. Like I was,
Hi.
but Zach was trying to help me and like setting the dampers. I didn't know what to set the dampers at. So I just listened to whatever Zach said. It's like just you set them and I'll do it. But so Zach was a very good ref and coach. So he kind of told me how to pace myself on the rower. I don't know if I listened to him because I just thought I was like, I'm just gonna go hard and I'm gonna do this. But realizing now it's like you have to pace yourself or you're gonna burn out. So yeah, pacing myself on the rower, trying to keep myself at like 149, 150, and then same with the ski erg, just pace myself and not try to go so hard. What else?
So do you like recover on the ski erg? Just out of curiosity, is that like your mid-race kind of like quick, like active recovery in a sense, and then hammer the back half?
Yeah, that would have to be where I recover if I do. I guess. Like I don't know if I actually recover, but yeah, a little bit on the skier.
So what was it like when Connor gave you a call and asked you to be your partner because of the rivalry that you've had, which is a friendly rivalry, but then all of a sudden, and it sounds like it wasn't like a long-term plan thing. What was that like?
Yeah, it was right before. He's like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." Like, I mean, I'm gonna be there. Why not? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So and Connor and Pat, like we had just talked about in the beginning of the episode, they teamed up to basically give us a clinic on how DEKA men's teams work. So very interesting to see the two of you guys together. And I think for people watching, it was really interesting, especially knowing the rivalry and then the competitors you were up against. How did you feel about that? And did you learn anything?
Yeah, it was an eye opener for sure. Now when Connor asked me, I said for sure because he beat my DEKA mile time, which I thought was a decent time. I actually driving to Florida for vacation. I stopped in North Carolina and did a DEKA mile and got 1956, I think it was, which I thought was pretty good. I was like, I don't think Connor can beat that, and then he did. So seeing him do well, that's awesome. Like yeah, there's a rivalry, but like I love seeing him do well. If he beats me, like it's great. So yeah, when he asked me to team up with him, I was like, yeah, for sure. Like I think we could have a good team because I know he's a better runner than me, and then I have a bit more strength than him. So our plan for the team was he would do all the running and I would do all the zones, which I thought would be a lot easier than. Yeah, I thought it would be a lot easier than it was.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Like
the way
rest
that works
in between, and I'm like a big fan of teams, but I find, and I said this with Connor, I actually find the teams almost, I don't want to say harder, but it's a very different hard because you do get that little bit of a rest, but you're going 120% in every zone. So like, I know you ran your individual DEKA FIT that morning or afternoon sometime in there. The timelines are a little wobbly for me, but I know you ran your individual and then you did the team. So like having done both, what's your take? Did they feel very different?
Yeah, well, I thought the team would be a lot easier, but it was brutal. I don't know if because I did my individual before played a factor. I don't think it did because I have pretty good recovery. I think it would have been the same either way. But the team is like you said, you're going all out and only getting maybe 2-minute break and then going all out again. So when I hit this, I was fine up until the ski erg, and then I was like, oh, I'm not gonna I can't do as well as I thought I could do. Like the ski erg
actually I have to intervene because you did the ski erg and then you had that moment of like, oh my God, because I was judging you guys and I was like, oh no, like we're halfway. But what the heck did you do? Because you closed a massive gap on the farmer's carry. Like you guys, you dropped a little bit behind after the ski, but then you came in
Yeah.
on the farmer's carry and just absolutely destroyed it and like closed this gap. So did you get a second win? Like what happened for you on the farmer's carry?
That might have just went back to like the fire fit training,
Yeah,
carrying too much
Yeah.
weight. Like that's what I do.
And that
I'm
would be
wearing
nothing for you probably to carry
like
60
firefighting.
pounds.
You're wearing you have a lot of weight when you're doing firefighting. You're in all your gear and you're carrying tools. So I'm used to carrying a lot of weight.
true. Did you even notice that you closed that gap or
No,
were
I
you
didn't.
just like
No,
straight game mode? No, you had no idea.
I had no idea what was
Literally,
going on. No.
yeah, you guys closed like a pretty large gap there, and it was like you went from being like kind of out of the race to like fully submerged back in like
Yeah,
we
no
we were
idea.
racing
No,
again.
I didn't know we
So
were that
that
far
was
behind. I thought it was just kind of like the same the whole way through. But
you guys were leapfrogging actually. I shouldn't say it's not like you were far behind, but that was
no,
like the
yeah,
furthest
Midway.
spread was at that moment, and then you were back in, and then it was just like that same. You guys were neck and neck with Josh and Zach at that point. Steeds and Kev had kind of separated themselves a little bit from the pack, which, I mean, again, you're
we
all
knew that. Yeah,
phenomenal athletes, but we kind of
yeah,
all expected around that point that they would start to distance themselves. But
yeah.
wow, like, again, I said this when I was with Connor, I was like, that was one of the funnest, most epic races I've ever judged and watched, like with the sportsmanship, the camaraderie. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I know you've never witnessed Kev on the bike, have you? In action?
Not in person. No.
No, how was that? I'm sure you
Well,
just heard
I didn't even
like,
see him because I was facing the other way, but I could hear him.
Yeah.
oh yeah. And Zach was
And
yelling at him.
then
Oh my God, it was funny.
my girlfriend Madeline comes to all my events and cheers me on, and she was
Yeah.
like, "Did you see that guy?" Crazy. Like, she was so shocked. She didn't even know what was going on. Like yeah, I knew he was going to do that, but yeah, I've never seen it
And to
So
be,
was
live.
that your fastest bike? You were about 40 seconds for your 25 cals. Was that fast for
my
you
goodness.
or?
I felt like I was slow. No, I mean obviously 40's fast, but like yeah, I feel like I could be faster. I was pretty gassed at that point.
Hmm.
I think I could
Yeah.
do better. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
do you
because I
think you
feel
and
like
Connor will do this again together? Do you
I'm gonna
think
hit
you
you.
guys will team up again and make that a thing for you? Like I know both
Of
of you are doing worlds, is what I've heard.
I will so with Worlds in December. So going back to firefighting, I just got hired with Kingston Fire.
Oh, nice.
I start Monday.
Congrats.
I start Monday full time firefighting. So I've been a volunteer
Congratulations.
firefighter. Thank you. I've been a volunteer firefighter up until now. So I finally got full time.
That's
So
awesome.
I'm really not sure what my schedule is going to be like. So I
Hmm.
can't
Mm.
say I can go to Worlds for sure, but I'm hoping I don't work those days and I will be there.
Yeah, we all
Yeah.
do too.
And if Connor wants to do the team at Worlds, I'll definitely do it.
We
Yeah,
need
that
the
was
Canada representing because there's a lot of amazing Canadian athletes, and I feel like
Yeah.
it's so new for Canada. Not that the
mhm.
US has had much extra time, but it's literally brand new for us. So it's nice to see these Canadian times and people coming out from different backgrounds and just crushing these
Yeah.
goals
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
seeing
we had
guys
a
get to the same
stacked
level.
field at
Hmm.
that DEKA FIT event. Like the field was stacked. I mean, Pat was there. We had Connor there, Jesse, Josh, like Kev,
Hmm.
Zach. There- like, how did you feel? Have you ever raced against all these guys before? Or was that a first time for you?
That would have been a first.
Hmm.
That amount of
And
competition. Yeah.
And I guess whenever you've done like a DECA, it's been like you're always racing against yourself. Like it's, one or two lines of equipment. So like how did you feel in that like race setting? Like that was a different experience
Yeah.
for you, right?
The team was definitely if me and Connor were just doing it without the other guys beside us, we definitely would have been slower because we were trying to push ourselves to keep up with them. So it definitely
Mhm.
helped going against faster guys. So that
Yeah.
was nice. And with my individual, I came later in the day, so it would have been nice to go head to head with Connor, because I think we would have pushed each other to be faster.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm happy with my first time with the DEKA FIT, but I know I can do better. And it was I slipped a couple times.
Oh yeah.
I almost took out the whole ski erg.
Oh my goodness.
a little wet.
Yeah, but it was fun. Good experience.
That's awesome. So what's next on your calendar in regards to Spartan or DEKA?
Or fire.
What's your agenda look like? Or fire fit? Yeah.
So I have Calabogie this weekend.
Awesome.
What are you racing there? The 10 and the 5?
10 and the 5, and then I just saw that. Well, I've always seen the trail race, but I assumed I couldn't do it because it was like when I would be racing the 5. But I think I'll be done the 5 and be able to do the 10.
Yeah,
so I might do the trail if I have time.
That's a great plan, because that's actually my plan. That's my plan too, and I'm slower than you. So if I think I can do it,
I think it was actually I think it was your post I saw, and I was like, okay, maybe I can do it too then. So,
yeah, well, you can definitely do it. Your race would start at 8:30. You're probably going to take about like 40 minutes.
Well under an hour.
Yeah,
I won the 5K at Calabogie last year, and I think it was 34 minutes.
Exactly.
So you'll be done by 9.
You will be fine. I will be still out there. But somebody pointed out to get your bibs together. So they don't always want to give you both bibs, but I'm sure that the volunteers, if you explain that you're going to try and go crazy, unless Madeline's going, and then maybe she can help you out too.
She actually can't make this one.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
And then what's after Calabogie? What's left on the agenda this year?
Calabogie, and then I do have a fire fit competition in Port Elgin.
Cool.
Up near, like, I guess be north of Grand Bend. If you've ever been that way.
Yep.
So I have that, and then Kelowna. I do have flights booked for Kelowna, but now that I got a full-time job, I don't know if I'll be able to make it, but we'll see. It might be a last-minute thing. I might just show up for race day, maybe just for the weekend. Me and Madeline did have a whole week planned. My sister lives in Kelowna.
Oh,
so we were going to do a whole week in Kelowna, race, and then come home. But I might just have to show up for the weekend and do the 10K, because the 10K is the series race, which I think I need to do because I know Connor's doing.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, you can't give him a freebie. No. Can't let him off too easy, right?
I have one more quick question, and this is sometimes it's a great one, but have you considered to move into the elite category at all? Is that thought process gone through your head at all? Not that you have to, but
yeah. Well, so last year I actually raced elite at Fenway Park.
Oh, nice. Yeah. And how was that experience?
It was fun. The stadium race was different for sure. I mean, I just did it because I want, like, Fenway Park, so historical. I just, like,
so cool.
I had one of the free races in US. I'm like, I'll use this. I get to see Fenway Park. I've never been to Fenway Park. Just to see it and be able to race. So I didn't do as well as I wanted to. I missed the spear throw, of course.
Gotta love that.
and it was a rain. It rained the whole time, and I slipped off the rings. So I had to do burpees twice. Which once you have to do burpees twice, you're not gonna,
done. Yeah. In your category, you are, because you guys are all so close, and it's a short race, right? So.
Yeah. Well, even this year, like with me, Connor, and Jason, we're usually the top 3 on the podium. If whoever misses a spear throw, like that's what determines first, second, and third is the spear throw.
There you go.
So yeah, with elite, I tried elite there, which it's different than racing in Ontario because we have the ski hills, but I haven't really
thought of it yet.
Given it thought. into elite. No, I saw that Connor is switching over. So maybe they'll force me to do it. But
and sometimes it's hard too. You are starting a new job. It is a huge commitment mentally too. So maybe Spartan is your fun times where you just go and you see how you do, and then you do your job, and then I mean it's there for a long time. So
and I'm not much of a morning person, and elite go pretty early. I don't know if I want to run that early in the morning. I mean, 8:30 is pretty early for me, but I mean,
you know what like really like scares me about running elite is how freaking cold it is at like 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm not a cold person, and I'm like, I like my age group time. I go up at like 8:30, 9 a.m. and I'm like, yeah, I'm with you.
Unless we go back to Jacksonville and do elite. It's warm there.
True.
I'll do elite there if you do elite there, Pat.
Yeah. Okay, we just heard it.
Well, about Jacksonville, did you know that was a series race for the US? Is that why you went?
No, but I actually, like you, I feel like ignorance was bliss, because I ended up like claiming myself 4th at that one, and it put me top 10 in the US series. So I was like, huh. Yeah, but so I'm actually going to pursue the US series next year. I only did 1 race this year. Next year I'm going to go do all 3. Just in I'll probably do age group, to be honest, but just to see like first year series age group, and then I don't know, maybe I'll do elite. Hey, if you're doing elite, I'll do elite. Let's just leave it at that.
My plan was to do the US elite, or not elite, do the US national series for age group. That's why I went to Jacksonville. And then I was going to do Utah and West Virginia, but just Utah didn't work out with like flight prices, and I was busy. So, and you have to do at least 3. So I don't know. If I didn't do Utah, I knew I wasn't going to have enough points to even be top 10. So I didn't bother to finish it this year. But that's why I went to Jacksonville to start that, but it didn't work out.
And to be fair, like, it is a male dominated sport. So the fact that I landed or happened to land top 10 with 1 race, like, it just shows you guys, like, it's a very male dominated sport. So like that would be very unrealistic for Pat to be able to do that with 1 race. But like ultimately, like, that was just luck, because everybody else in there had at least 2 races in my category. But Killington is coming up. Is that No, that's the championship, the series championship, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't look at that again. But Zach mentioned it, and I might drive out if I'm free that weekend. I might drive to Killington because it's not too far.
I feel like we're going to have to, after this, keep Pat in the loop. Just send text to, okay, it's a series race, or it's this.
Yeah, I do need to know this stuff.
FYI, like, there's DEKA champs, or
Yeah, by the way, you made it. You're in the top 10. We'll keep you in the loop.
Yeah, I just like to show up and do it and see what happens.
I love that attitude, though. I love that because it's less stress. It makes it more fun, and it's fun to do race for a goal. It's fun to say, I'm going to try to win this series, but it's also really just fun to show up and basically wing it.
Yeah. Even Dave, when I'm doing DEKA, he's like, "Oh, what are your splits?" I'm like, I don't do splits. I just do it.
I just go.
I don't know. I just tell. I actually asked Dave a lot. I was like, "Oh, like, what should my time be for this? Like, where should I be at for this?" And he'll just tell me a time, and I'll just try to do that. Especially with the assault bike, he's like, "Keep it over 400 watts." And that's good. I'm like, okay, so that's what I do.
The coaches that do the reffing during DEKA are it's just amazing. You can learn so much before the race, and they're always there with such great suggestions. Like, I think that's what makes it a sport you can just kind of jump into, because if you are fit and you're doing functional training, or even if you're not and you just want to, cry at the end, then somebody's going to tell you or show you the way. So it kind of shows you that, like, any kind of athlete can just jump in and do this thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's awesome.
Everyone's welcoming. Yeah, it's nice.
It's true. Well, thank you so much for your time tonight, Pat, and really just, clearing the air on this whole rivalry thing. They've both admitted they are really friends, and I know Connor has the most amount of respect for you as an athlete. So you'll have to listen back to all the great things he said about you tonight. But yeah, that is a wrap, you guys, on our like multi-guest podcast. If you made it all the way through, thanks for listening in, guys. Like always, don't forget to, like, comment, share, comment if you want to hear or see Pat go elite next year. Yeah, give us some love, give him some love. Where can they find you on social media, Pat, if they wanted to follow your journey?
Instagram would work. Just Pat J Millington is my Instagram handle.
Perfect. So if you want to keep up with all his endeavors, I actually do know there is a video on there. I've seen it of you competing in the Fire Fit. It was really cool to watch. So definitely get over there, guys. Give him a follow his journey. He's a force, and I'm sure you can learn a lot. So